And both videos are going. Let's go.
Cindy forgot her cheat sheet.
Huh?
I forgot my cheat sheet, you're right. I got it now. He coming?
He was here today. Oh, he's going to be running late.
Oh.
He was running to Manhattan. Not literally, but.
Well, with him it could have been, but yeah.
We got to go by this clock.
It's the official.
All right.
Calls me forward.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Fry. Keating.
Present.
Snelling.
Present.
Bikeman.
Present.
Brackey.
Present.
Price.
Present.
Barons.
Here.
Crum.
Here.
7-0, we have a quorum.
Okay. First up, we have the approval of minutes from the March 14th meeting.
Move approved minutes, regular meeting, March 14th, 2022.
Second. Okay. Any further discussion?
Sorry.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 7-0. Next up, we have public comment. Is anybody here for 5-minute public comment? Yes.
I don't want to take much of your time, but I'm Sharon Kessinger, and I'm a member of the Custer House Museum Advisory Board and the Custer House Foundation Board. And I'm just here to invite you all to come to a party at the Custer House on Saturday. Saturday's Museum Day, as you probably already know. And for our part of it, we're going to have, in the afternoon from noon to 3, an open house for John Howard. And you probably know this too, John worked for the city for 20 years and was, all his life, he worked for his community and his nation, and we're hoping that a lot of you will come just to honor him and to see our museum. And I'm sorry the tulips won't be in bloom yet, but they're that high now, and we're excited.
They're going.
And we have a couple of guests here this week. Sarah Kester Morrison and her brother Buck. And stand up, will you? They're here from Connecticut and Pittsburgh to help us celebrate, so, and help us. So far, they're helping us work to clean and get ready. So anyway, I brought you each an invitation. I'm told that I can't give it to you, but I'll put it on the table over there and you can pick one up. So
Yes,
come
ma'am.
if you can.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, Mandy Cook, 2401 North Street, Ward 1, I believe, although I always forget. As I am apt to do when I am here to see you, I'm wearing many hats, and this one is the Marysville Convention and Tourism hat. I missed a funding request, and I just figured I'd come up and tell you and ask you now if that is appropriate. At the last board meeting, or the last committee meeting, the Museum Alliance, who was helped out by Toby Carrig, came to us and asked for $360 to advertise the wonderful museum day that is going to happen, as Sharon was talking about. And the committee, as you might remember, has portions for grant funding for things specifically like this. The committee was very on board with this. We think that the amazing things that have been presented, as well as even including Blue Rapids Museum, we're very excited about this. And so we suggest that you agree with the $360 in advertising, and then also include an extra $50 for social media advertising. Now, you're probably wondering, is this going to be, the advertising is probably already happening. Well, unfortunately, I only have board meeting once a month, and that's kind of the way that it works. However, the advertising is going to be paid for. We hope that you will extend the grant money to help out the museums to pay for that advertising. So I wanted to tell you about that. I don't know if you would do that then during the other funding.
Go down with the rest of them.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. I appreciate
All right,
that.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else for 5-minute public comment?
Hi, my name is Sandy Kimpley. I live off 12th Road. As you all know, you all have a petition in front of you that we had signed, and we thank you for all your work that you do, by the way. We are now asking for dust control again. It's just one of the things we would like to have done to help keep it so that it's a little more, not just effective for us to be able to breathe out there, because it is very bad, but it is also quite dangerous right now. Well, not right now because it rained, but before, I've had to pull over twice because I could not see. And there's people that walk out there. We are just kind of afraid that something's really going to happen bad, besides the fact that that road is just beyond, what we can deal with anymore. It was a nuisance when I moved out there, but now it's dangerous. So we would like you to consider putting some dust control on it for us, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Right. Hello?
Hi. I'm Carol Blocker. I'm from the same ward and the same condition we've been putting up with, but I think we have a lot more traffic out there now. We're seeing big trucks hauling big rocks and all kinds of construction stuff. They must be taking a shortcut to go to the dump. I'm not sure. We have farm equipment. We have school bus, of course. But again, it is so dusty you really cannot see very far ahead of you. And we have people out there that's walking their dogs all the time to go out Limestone and back. And it's just, we have a lot of kids. I think we have about 20 children out there. And, they're usually playing within the subdivision on Timber Creek and Ashbury. But we also have, a lot of traffic. We have not such good roads. The rock they put out this last time was probably more dirt than rock, and we were mud. If any of you came out after the rain, I think some of you were invited to come out and drive it. It was horrible. We left mud in our garage coming off our vehicles. It's just, it's something just needs to be done. And I know that we're not on your 5-year plan, I don't believe, to do anything different with that road, but just dust control is going to help get us through the summer months, and that's what we're asking for. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else for 5-minute public comment? Okay, we'll move on to business and discussion. First up, we have the quote for fire station software. Alex? Hello.
Yeah, hi there. Alex Rombeck, secretary on the fire department. I don't know what you guys have. You have the quote in front of you? So, I was just gonna type something up to explain what we do with this, but I figured it'd be as easy to come in and talk to you. Basically, so we've been using, what we use to fill out the fire reports, software is called Firehouse. We've been using that since 2002. Basically, they're not gonna support it anymore after October. It does what we need it to do, but the state is not accepting files from that anymore. We've been having to run the Firehouse files through a file fixer for the last couple of years. The state won't accept them otherwise. So anyway, just to explain also what we do with it, like I said, we gotta send the reports into the state every 30 days. It keeps track of our activity, who was on a call, what type of event, especially hazmat calls. We had a fuel leak a while back, and Toad Swineman, the emergency management, I know you guys all know him, told us you're supposed to keep them records for 20 years after the last person's dead that was on the call, which I don't know how we're ever going to do that, but either way, it's just something else to keep all our files and records from Firehouse should transfer to this new program. ESO is a company who has this quote. They bought Firehouse. They're the ones we've been working with for 20 years, and I think the last couple of years we haven't paid the bill, but I've still been calling them, and they've been helping me out with everything I needed. So they have good relations, I guess. Basically, and also insurance companies call. That's where we get our reports to send to the insurance companies if they request that, a house fire or vehicle fire or something like that. We'll print it right off of that software. And that's the main things we do with it. In the old version, we had all our inventory of everything that was on every truck and in the station. With this new quote that you have in front of you, it seemed pretty high. The top part of that is asset management checklist, and that's where our inventory would come from. And we've kind of decided that we can find another way to keep our inventory. So we can cross that price off. So I think that's in the notes, Cindy, right? Basically, if we take that price off, I think the first original cost would be $2,630 with the reoccurring cost of $2,035. And, unfortunately, that's basically what we've got to work with, so.
So if you take off the access
$29.70.
checklist on the top, do you take off the training too?
Yeah, I believe that should, because I believe that was just to,
Train for,
I believe that was just to train on that part, because each one of these has the personnel management has a migration fee. Well, they waived it, I guess, but at the very bottom, the, fire setup and online training, I believe is when they will transfer everything from firehouse to ESO. And I think that's in that fee there, I'm pretty sure. So, that's it on that, unless there's any other questions.
How are you gonna track assets?
Well, basically on paper. We take inventory once a year on the trucks in the station. Basically hose, we are gonna try to get on an Excel spreadsheet and keep up there, so. That's kind of the plan, I guess, and I guess see how it works. Obviously this will always be here if something's not going, and something we could ask for later if we have to, but
Yeah.
I think we have a plan to keep inventory without it.
The total? I think it's 2970.
That's what I got.
Would you come up with, Alex?
What's
That's what
that?
he said.
Yeah, sorry, I had, 2,630 for the initial cost,
Okay.
and then 2,035 reoccurring.
Maintenance fee, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a yearly bill. And I think the firehouse program, the last bill we paid a few years ago was
675, I looked it
okay,
up.
675, so obviously, yeah, this is more, but, I suppose it's like anything going up, you know.
Software's getting expensive anymore, so are the computers around, so.
Yeah.
Move to approve the quote from ESO for the fire station software for the setup $2,630 and a reoccurring of $2,035.
Second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
you.
One more thing, up at the fire station, we're having a heck of a time, communicating out of that building.
It's
Yeah, we can't get cell phone service up there, so I was wondering about getting a landline in that office. We've been, to set this program up, we had,
Yeah, booster.
Do you not have Wi-Fi calling on your phones? You attached to the Wi-Fi?
yeah, I can get on the Wi-Fi, yeah, but I don't know about Wi-Fi calling, I guess.
Draft a letter to Verizon because it's their fault. And if it's affecting emergency management, I can think of no better reason than us to lean whatever pressure we have on that organization.
Any metal building,
If
you're
you
not
go-
gonna
if you
have.
go-
Yeah, this isn't a metal building,
If
this
you-
is a tower right there.
If you go 200,
either,
if you go 200 feet to the west of that building, you got perfect, like 4
Unless
bars.
Landals gets out and then you have no cell service.
Then you have no sense.
Everybody in this town plows thousands of dollars into that company. Seriously. Seriously. I believe we should do something to affect change. Anything we can. Am I wrong?
I'm kind of with Todd on this one. I work in a metal building and my cell phone works just fine. You gotta go stand out on the apron to make a phone call at the fire station.
And I work in a metal building on the other place and it won't work at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so like,
That's what I mean, it's,
At the hospital, we had to put cell phone booster because you could not get cell service.
I'll put it in contact with, my contacts at Verizon, see if we can get something.
how much is a landline? I'm just asking.
It's probably $70, $60-70 a month, probably.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know,
It's
I didn't
about
know
what I
what
was
happened
paying
to
when I
that
finally
phone over
canceled
there. I
mine
didn't
last
know,
year.
did that number not move
No.
up there? Okay, no, I didn't know what happened.
yeah, I don't know, just something to be able to
There you go.
Yeah.
get out, and
See if
also, you
they'll
know,
chip in for it.
We'll figure out
we're
which
setting
way.
this program up, you know, we're on the phone for quite some time, so this will all be over the phone transfer. I don't think they're gonna show up here, so, yeah. I'd be in favor of a landline personally, but
We can
whatever
check
we
on
can
the landline and
Yeah.
or a booster and see which one.
Okay.
so.
Yeah, I mean, we have to figure out one or the other.
Yep.
Okay, thank you much.
The
Thanks.
reason they got rid of this one was because no one had made a call on it since 2019.
Oh, I'm not arguing that,
So-
I just,
That's what they told us.
Well, probably, I'm they had good reception then probably,
So
so.
that's,
but if
they
it's
said,
a problem
you
out
probably
there,
don't need this phone. Okay.
Well, but the nice thing about a booster is then guys can get calls on their cell phone, I mean,
Some of these cell phone providers have a
somebody's
soft
get
heart, towards emergency. They always call up and see if, well, not always, but they call up every once in a while and go, hey, we got this emergency set up, and sometimes they'll give you stuff. That's gonna be one of my calls.
Good luck.
all right, thank you.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah,
sure.
I was just wondering, is it possible to possibly get a car count out there? We have so much traffic out there, more than I think you understand that we have. And I think that's contributing to all the dust, of course, and the potholes and the washboard. We have a lot of traffic, and I think if you could get some sort of something out there to do a count on cars, just to see how much traffic we have, I think that might show you, you know, what we're talking about here. Okay? All right, thank you.
thank you. Next up, we have the Mother's Day Market and Chicken Barbecue request with Kate. Hello.
Hello, how are you guys? Okay. Got a lot of papers up here tonight. Okay, so I am here on behalf of the Mother's Day Market Committee. For those of you who don't know, the funds that we raise for the Mother's Day Market does go straight back to the Kester House Museum and Gardens. Kind of highlight a few things that was newer to this request was we are bringing back the Grove. We're trying to at least, and this was an opportunity to kind of showcase some local shops rather than vendors type of thing, kind of, you know, local shops that you'd find on Broadway, something like that. You know, upon your request, on our request of bringing this back, we would like to purchase a tent to house those vendors under, a little bit classier tent rather than different tents with multiple vendors in an area, if that makes sense. And the profits that we plan to bring up, we're going to cap at, I believe, 15 to 20 vendors that will fit under this tent, and it will pay itself out with, I think, a little bit of extra income over. We were shooting for a minimum of 15 for that number, so about 15 to 20.
Renting it.
Renting, yes, not purchasing, sorry. Thanks for the save. Yeah, we're renting the tent. And then also, so the chicken barbecue, last year we did carry out and delivery. No, we didn't. We just did carry out and drive through. That's what it was. So that's what we did last year. This year we're going to do dine-in. So we were also requesting a rental of chairs and tables to include in that. And I do believe we're going to bump up the chicken barbecue money for that. I think it was $12 last year. With the way inflation is right now, I think we were probably going to consider bumping up to $15. Just kind of depends what we can, you know, what everything accumulates to price range wise. That way that is a moneymaker because it does fund, yeah, the Kester House. So last year we were unable to do the tent. That was another thing we were going to request again this year, to have the tent up for us to operate doing the chicken barbecue. And that was all I had for the Mother's Day Market. Did you guys have any questions?
We never did get a new, we've got the same.
The old, yeah, we never got a new big tent.
It's, yeah, I mean, it'll work for now, but I know, who was I with last year? Was that what, you? I think we were on top of the looking out on the top of the tent, it's getting pretty rough. I mean, I'm just bringing it up now because at some point we're gonna have to get into the.
Well, we don't own it.
Oh,
They own it.
It's their tent.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I
Did,
think.
I can't
car
remember what
show
was
and
what was the deal.
barbecue.
Did we share or did they buy all of
We
it?
just
or?
put it up, that was
Okay.
our part, no, they own
Okay.
it, them and bosses.
Oh, then, yeah.
I'll make a note of that.
I guess at some point, yeah, somebody's gonna have to buy a new tent. Us or someone. It's starting to look kind of rough.
I do agree. Okay, I believe that should be it. Are you ready?
We'll need a motion because they're asking to close the park and use gators. Both of those things have to have council approval.
Move to approve the request from the Marysville Chamber Main Street Mother's Day Flea Market in the city park.
Second. Okay, any further discussion?
I do want to make sure, because it's really easy to do with those gators, don't take them out onto, not saying, I forget when I saw this, but somebody took a gator out onto Highway 77, just going to and from, just make sure that doesn't happen.
Yes. We will do that.
Got a motion, and I have a second?
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstaining from that vote.
Okay.
7-0. All right, and looks like you're staying up for the Big Blue Barbecue.
Yes. So one thing I noticed about the map was I extended it to 4th Street. I have a new map. Can I approach and hand these out to you guys? Is that okay? Okay, does everybody have one? Okay. So I kind of wanted to talk about this first before I forgot. In the request initially, I had asked to extend to 4th Street. I was completely wrong on that, so we're gonna just cut off normally like 5th Street. And that's the difference of the maps that you received in what I just gave you. We did want to request something a little bit different this year. We're wanting to extend further on 6th Street and cut off at Elm, cutting off those alleyways. We had some issues with the inflatables last year with the kids zone, and we had planned to move that into that open area where there's a little bit more access and room, a little bit more visibility as well. And so that's why we had asked to extend that way. Before it was in a side area, not a lot of room. It was kind of a little bit clustered in between businesses in that area. I have not yet.
I think who owns that is still, Votes and,
I
yeah,
understood
I didn't know, maybe they bought it?
I don't know, my understanding was that they owned that, but I mean.
Okay, because originally Votes and, Shell's owned that, that's who bought it before.
The corner.
They had that corner.
Corner lot where the house used to be.
So are you
was
talking
torn
about
down.
using the
On
corner
6th.
lot?
No, we're just using the street.
Oh, okay, well, that won't
Yeah,
matter.
nothing on
Okay.
that side.
Okay.
It'll just be.
If you cut the alley off, just
Yeah.
CES needed in there for anything good that they were
Absolutely.
aware.
Right, for
They
sure.
can't, there's no access to that other way.
That is very true. That's
Just,
the
I
only
mean,
entrance.
and I can't imagine it being a problem, community oriented.
He's on our board too, so.
You might be aware.
Yeah, we'll definitely let him know about that. And same with Blue Valley Insurance Agency, because I know they like to park in that little alley, I guess, if you
Yeah.
want to call it sometimes. But yeah, so that was the only thing I'd noticed that, and so, the next thing we wanted to ask for, the car club was curious if they could do the trailer. I believe they parked it somewhere along the street that we put the barricades and the cones on. They would just like to be able to work with the city workers and you guys as far as putting that on there and they'd be able to put it and distribute them out. I think that's what they've done in the
Yeah.
past.
Yes.
I didn't have it on my council request, but that was just one thing they had mentioned. Then the next thing, we are adding a new event. It's called Beer Olympics. And yes, the title is pretty crazy. It's a new, it replaced the beer mile last year. And so we are requesting to use the new green space that is right there. One of the main concerns was tearing up that grass. We are just doing washers, like a cornhole boards and stuff like that. And then I think they're doing like a chug off type of thing. So it's not, yes, there'll be foot traffic there that night, but it won't be, I don't know, grass won't be torn, I'm sure, in that. But I just wanted to request the use of that if that was available. Is there any
As
questions?
long as nobody stumbles out in the highway.
Oh, we are planning to use snow fence to close that
that would be a
area
good
off.
idea.
Sorry.
That'd be a good idea. I mean,
Gosh, I'm
you're
making
that
you guys
close to the
nervous, aren't
highway,
I?
it don't take long for someone to get over there.
Right, yeah, that's planned to be snow fenced off. That way there's hopefully no access between there. That was another concern that we brought up, so that was the best solution that we had for that area. And then we also will be moving the cornhole tournament to Friday night. So the Beer Olympics will be on Saturday evening. I think it starts about 5 o'clock. And then the cornhole will be Friday night. And we are planning to use the parking area near, is it to the west of Wagmill? And use that area to kind of be off the streets. So that way the car show, that was kind of the big thing Saturday, was that we were kind of in the way of the cars. And so we moved it to that way it wasn't near the band as well when that's playing, so people will have a little bit more room. And then, oh gosh. So we did move the kids' inflatables to 6th Street with your permission on that. We would like the approval for consumption of beer and alcohol sales, and we'll do all the paperwork that's necessary with that with you guys in the state. And then we also wanted to request the use of ATV and golf carts for the committee members. Last year we did have some issues. We did address that to the committee members that there were issues with. We also are still, making sure that they're aware that we cannot do some of the things that we did last year. And so that has been narrated.
I hope so.
Otherwise, that'll be the last year of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Can somebody brief me on? Just because somebody will ask me tomorrow, if they saw this.
I'll make it simple.
There were
Adult substances, lots of them. Then we decide to drive ATVs.
Be stupid.
The one I got is they don't need to run over a kid. I really couldn't argue that.
Yep, and that's why we were upset about it too, so that's why it was addressed.
Like I said, that's fine, but I
Yeah.
hope it's addressed well.
Right.
Otherwise, they're gonna carry this stuff back and forth.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any questions for me?
Not really. Want to make a motion?
Move to approve the request for the Big Blue River Days, 3rd and 4th, and for the 31st Annual Car Fest and the barbecue.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kate.
All right, next up we have Mandy Cook with the Story Walk request.
Hello again. I am here now as the Marysville K-Club sponsor. A couple of kids came to you a few weeks ago and talked to you about the Story Walk. I'm very excited about that. We're still in the process of applying for that grant, but I got a little bit of feedback from the person who is in charge of the grant, and one of the things that she talked about was people support what they help create. So just to give you an overview of the grant amount that we're going to be applying for, our hope is that we're going to work with Inline Construction to get concrete for $82.50, and the barking dog displays are $72.84.96. That in total is $15,534.96, in case you weren't fast on the math like I'm not. The reason why I'm coming to you is because of what her feedback was. I thought to myself, and the kids, the board members, and I thought to ourselves that we thought it was important to maybe show some ownership. So as the library director, I asked the library board if they were interested in just giving just a little bit of money. Like I said, this project is going to be over $15,000. I'm not asking you to fund the whole thing. That's the point of the grant. But just to show support and a good show of faith. Unfortunately, we did not have a quorum, so I cannot tell you whether they would support that or not. However, when they talked about, we just briefly talked about it, they couldn't tell me what they were thinking, of course, but when we just briefly talked about the information, they did say that they might be interested in having a special meeting determining an amount if that's what you all decided. The suggestion that I put in the letter was $1,000. That's negotiable. But again, this project is over $15,000. I think it's a really good show of faith and support of something that can be used for not only Marysville people, Marshall County people, out of town, since it happens to be in the park. It's going to be a very good addition to a wonderful city park. So I was just coming on behalf of the K Club.
Austin,
Yes.
what's the balance in special parks, like curiosity?
See that in a second.
Figured it'd be easy for you.
Got it. $31,730.
Well, I would make a motion that we move forward with a $1,000 donation out of special parks towards the Story Walk project.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Veto.
Thank you very much, folks.
Thanks, Mandy.
Next, we have the test support construction and maintenance agreement with John.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Joy, would you come up to the podium and
Good evening.
hello.
Hi, Joy.
Thank you for coming and, really thank you for your donation, Quilla.
You're welcome.
More than generous. Yes. What we laid out here is a gift agreement. It's been circulated, among internally framers as well to review and us and discuss and work out the kinks. And it proposes a contribution of $100,000 by the city. That's important because the city's contribution. The other thing that's kind of perked up today is this is contingent upon an interlocal agreement with the school district, use of a maintenance fund. I'll get to that, but that kind of perked up today. And I'm thinking that where we got stuck on, we're not looking at the big picture here. Some of the minutia. I've had 2 calls. We need to buy a picnic table. I got the donations covered. We need to buy a net. I got a donation for 1 net. Some of the cost of maintenance, routine maintenance costs are really small in comparison to the largeness of the project. But this project, this agreement is for 6 tennis courts, with the promise that the city will look into providing an area for 2 additional courts. I do know that they looked at that lot west of the police department and west of the district office, and it turned out to be a little bit too small.
Too small, yeah.
Didn't propose, well, you could always dig out the parking lot, but I think that'd be too much, going too far. So there's still something to consider. I think what's important here, communication between the creditors and the staff, just to make sure track, and it will be monies into city coffers, and that'll be used to pay the bills on ongoing. One thing it was, we had to take some time to look at is, how can the city do this without amending its budget and appropriating monies with the budget? Well, it's my understanding, clerk may correct me, that the city's capital improvement fund is one of those funds that's outside the budget. So the money received through donations would go into this capital improvement fund. From that capital improvement fund, the city would pay construction bills. I do think it's important for the city to pay those bills, because I think the construction should rely on a sales tax exemption from the city for the project, or I'm not sure if it, or the other one, but I think it clearly qualify, relates to city. We put some protections in the city. I know the city was very concerned about spending more than $100,000. I think this agreement addresses it. This would be a tax exemption, would be something that the city, they could write off in their income tax. So we've got all the bells and whistles in here. I might spend just a little time at talking about that contingency on paragraph 7 with the school district. If I understand it, and it's something we're working at, we are floating this, we've had one cut, and I've returned a major cut back to the school board's attorney. And so we're really looking at this closely. The city, excuse me, the members will donate $5,000, and the school would do $5,000. And I put in here, I don't think that I don't think the city really has a concern if it goes into a community foundation so they can raise some interest on it, or if it's maintained under the school's capital improvement fund. But I think the capital improvement funds are out, or don't require special budgeting or amended budget. So this money would go in that fund to be used for maintenance. But one thing I want to make sure, if I understand correctly, yeah, it's going to accumulate over that 10-year period, $100,000. Well, does that mean we hold the money and not expend it till that end of the 10-year period? Well, I don't think that's what's intended for, because you can't really time maintenance, like resurfacing. No. And that could happen in year 5, could year 7, could year 10, but the monies would have to be available to address it. We also, the issue popped up about nets. Well, like I said, I had 2 calls. 2 donations would take care of at least 1 court, and a court and a half. So I think push comes to shove, those costs. Now the resurfacing cost, I did talk to the Kramers about this. I think it's right now like $7,500 per court. But it's going to last for more. Even the nets last for 5 years or so. But so that would be the significant investment. But if you think about it, in 6 years, there's $77,000 a court. Well, there's enough money in the capital improvement fund to pay for it. So we got some protection here on a ongoing basis up to. So I don't want to get tied up in loose details. But those are going to be the main things: is who's going to blow the courts off, who's going to take care of it. I don't think those are big trash cans. Clerk and I talked about the picnic table. I don't see. I get 2 calls I got taken care of. So.
So
really
sorry, if I may ask, so, I mean, it's my understanding that, you know, the school is willing to take over that. Is that what like the trash cans, and is that what you're talking about?
They're talking about cleaning the courts and getting them ready
Correct.
That
Yes.
it would be their employees, not ours, that take care of getting the courts ready,
Yes.
blowing them off,
During
doing
the
all
tennis
those
season.
things. Yes,
Correct.
just
Okay.
for you know,
Sure.
you guys as.
Yes, absolutely. Okay.
Right, that you would take care of, the
Perfect.
school would take care of their
Okay.
own facilities for their competitions.
And then,
their.
I heard you say something, John, about a 10-year thing, holding money before,
I don't want a misconception that you donate $5,000 a year for the 10-year period.
Yeah.
they put 5,000 capital improvement fund.
So nobody can touch that for 10 years, or how?
Right, I think that's a misconception.
Okay.
I think it can be used for maintenance as things happen.
If in 7 years you need to
So-
resurface, we need to do it in 7, not 10.
Gotcha, okay, because I did do a little bit of research on, nets and lights. Nets, I did talk to the director of Woods Tennis Center in Lincoln, about how long nets last usually. He said, that they normally last, about 4 to 5 years.
That's what our guy said.
And he said $150 to $200 per net.
I think we paid two something for the last ones.
Okay, and how
Our
often?
guys, and it was probably about 4 years.
Okay.
They said the biggest issue is the cable that runs across the top. We have to replace the straps.
Oh, sure.
At the top. That's more than we do the nets.
Gotcha.
And then when a bulb breaks or whatever happens, that just is what it is. We don't know
Yeah.
when that'll be.
Sure.
Or the fencing, if somebody runs into it, well, hopefully their
Yes.
insurance will fix it.
Yeah, okay, perfect, thank you.
And the city would be still paying electricity, and if they switch out light bulbs to LEDs, I mean, the cost will go down, and I just don't know about the quality of LEDs. I know around the city, you get those purple.
Yeah,
We got some really good ones at the ball field.
Well, they do happen. I mean, those things can be ironed out. But I think we got a pretty good agreement here to phase it out. So we're here to at least, there's feedback. We need to make changes, great. Can they improve it, more direction, what we need to focus on? That's fantastic too. I think we still got some more work on this interlocal agreement, so if the council wants to approve today, fantastic, or come back, they need some more work here, I'm okay with that too. We just need some feedback now from the whole body. I try to get out this early as I can, so you have plenty of time to look at it. And, so that's kind of where we're at. I think the project will enhance the community and provide some great activity for the school as well. I think, I guess they say win-win situation for both. And I think look at the big picture, because some of the little nickel and dime items, I think you can take care of. You do that maintenance fund, or if they look, or money.
Is the school's hesitation because of the money, the 5,000 a year?
I think so, and the nickels and dimes in the process. In the process, they have a more deliberative process. They go of how they do things, so it's gonna take time to make sure all the school board members are aware of it. Because right now, it's mulling around with the attorney and the superintendents, and they're figure out what the actual terms are. We did to make some major revisions. I mean, had the clerk and we're on the phone, and we made some significant revisions. I think part of it's the history of the city. And the attorney in Topeka didn't have the old, now, that agreement provides $1,200 each month during Tennessee, so there's 4 $1,200 payments, so they're really kicking in extra. I hope it's not, I'd hope there's be little incident. I think they are little incidentals.
But if they absolutely do not, then this is just null and void.
Right, it's number 7 is a contingency. They say no, they veto the project.
Okay. Yes.
So we can vote yes, but if they vote no, then we're done.
I think
On the other agreement, yeah.
I think the city wanted to make sure they're on board, so we put the contingency in there, so. But this would tell the school board, hey, we're a go, we're ready to go, we're positive, and we're prepared to transfer $100,000 to the capital improvement fund. When I say our, I'm talking city of Marysville. And then the Krabers, I think, will do it from time to time, as the bills come in, they can donate in. I'm here for questions. I'm glad that Joy's here to answer questions. I see the press raising question. Fire away. I'm ready for it.
Please, I wanted to make sure where the $100,000 is coming from to transfer.
We're working on We have the, I mean,
I think there's there's
there's funding available. That's a minutia detail. I mean, we have the funds in our bank.
You got a special parks fund, you got an economic development fund, I think could that possibly be used?
Right. It might take some, work with our auditor, but, we'll find it.
I think it's been a long time coming.
Oh, yeah, we've worked on it for 15 or 20 years at least.
If this goes through, I can quit council, because it's been going the whole time I've been on here.
One thing, I think we are at Olson, engineers, you know, if the Kramer's gonna consult for an hour, would the city be willing to say, hey, we'll pick up for 1 hour's work? I can't be much to talk to engineer, signed it, I mean, I think they did some geo studies. I just, something in that area you gotta worry about. And if they want to take an hour, the guy's telling, hey, fantastic, I recommend you do that, just to make sure we don't have to come back in 5-10 years, but with that engineering more involved. I hope it's not a big cost.
No, they got all the geotechnical stuff, and, I mean, they didn't draw, and it's a preliminary drawing that they put together, but they have all the reports that we can get to whatever contractor, we're working with.
We've provided everything we have on file.
Not yet. No, that is available, and we can provide that.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Or even talk to the engineer for, well, it's up to council, it's their money, and maybe worthwhile just to make sure we're all on the same board.
Well, I'll make a motion that we move forward with the approval of the gift agreement and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No, thank you, Joy. Thank you.
Next up.
Okay.
The sprinkler repair. Cool.
All right, included are we had Leschlon's look at the sprinklers on Red Diamond, and he provided 2 options. One is to do repairs on the current system and include some new controllers as well. And then the second one is to replace the whole system. The repairs, he said, completed cost is $11,379.22. For a completely new system is $28,789.22. Which one was Red Diamond?
The top one.
The top one,
Yeah.
there, yeah. So we've been having issues with the sprinkler system. Don't know how long it's not been operational, but the Marshall County Sports and Rec notified us when they, probably early on in them taking over the project or their duties, they said they couldn't operate that system.
How many years is it now work for?
I don't know. I mean, it's, how long did Dom say?
Dom said it had been at least 6.
At least 6 years.
What year was it installed? Is it as old as the park, or was it
probably
added
as old
later?
as-
Yeah, probably a while.
It's been there a while. The problem on the Red Diamond is there just isn't much dirt there. There's only 5 to 6 inches of dirt, and that's it. Then you're down on that solid rock
Bedrock.
base. Yeah.
It was 97, 98,
Okay.
somewhere in there. It was all done by volunteers.
Yeah.
Was
Was there one before that? Is this the second system, or was there
No, this
none
is the
before
first
that?
one.
First.
This is the
I
first.
guess. My experience has been you, fix something on a car, same as this, and all the other parts get jealous and then they want fixed too.
Well, but he's doing a lot in that
Am I
fix-up
wrong?
bid, because he's doing a new controller, and he's doing some new wiring, and he's replacing all the heads.
Yeah,
All the valves
I mean,
and the new.
pipes broke, pipes broke.
right.
Was this bid strictly for the red diamond? Did he look at the other two diamonds?
Just for the red diamond,
This was strictly the red diamond?
right,
The other two work, right?
yeah.
Well, I didn't know if there was any bad heads or anything while he was here that,
As far as we know, the red diamond is the one with the issues.
So we
I
don't
mean-
have,
I mean, the guy's here. If we got bad heads out there, you might as well replace them.
Right. Well, as I understood it, Brian actually did a decent job at replacing the heads as they came up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna ask, do we have any sort of maintenance log at all over the history of this? Is that something, may not be in their agreement, is that the kind of thing where we can look at starting to accumulate? Because it'd be good for them, good for us to have that data. And not that hard to keep track, I would hope. Just because if we're gonna, it'd be nice to know how much is over time being poured into it.
I don't know what you'd keep track on it. Either works or it doesn't work, and
Well, this, in 2007, we replaced 3 heads on, I just think it'd be nice to have a little background.
no, I understand.
Especially if it's gonna change hands, management, if it's gonna change hands, cause then we really don't know.
So I'm asking whether you want a complete replacement or if you just want to, not, that's underplaying it, if you want to repair the system as it is. Or the third option is always nothing, but that's always out there.
Bad thing about underground sprinkler systems is, if there's a low spot and they blow them out and water settles back, that pipe expands and cracks,
Right.
and you never know.
Yep.
They get your water bill.
Till you get your water, yeah. Or it surfaces where it's not supposed to, it takes a chunk of sod and everything
Floods.
with it, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I'd just like to repair it, but I don't know if that's going to, get the water turned on if it's been off for a couple of years and you turn it on? How many leaks are they gonna find out there? How many repairs are they gonna have to make in it?
They have turned it on, they know where it's surfacing, but I don't know what that means in the end.
If we replace the whole thing, is there any kind of, warranty? Like 2 years, any leaks, they'll come back, nothing?
That's,
I kind of assumed there wasn't, since it's not lined out.
yeah.
2-year warranty.
2-year warranty
Is
on
it?
all parts and materials from date of installation.
Parts and materials.
Yeah.
So if we don't blow it out,
Now, if we have him put it in, how's that gonna affect the ball schedule?
He wouldn't do it now. He could do this one now, the repair. I believe that's what he stated, and that he would not do this one.
late
The-
May, early June.
It says, yeah, it says late May, early June, so how does that affect the rec ball schedule? Because having a field out right in the middle of ball season is not exactly
not
gonna
good.
work. But on the flip side of it, not getting it done so you lose all your grass because we die of a drought doesn't help the
It's not
problem
good
either.
either, no.
You been using it at all, do you know?
Well, they've been, running hoses for
Hoses?
years.
Okay.
Yeah. I assume that's what they've been doing is hoses and spray.
You got it. Where they're getting water, because I don't think our hydrant out there by third base dugout works either.
So that late May, early June is for a complete system, right?
Yes.
So what's the timeline on the repair? If we just did the 11,000?
Work can begin on this system as soon as bid is approved.
So we could probably, that seems like the decision maker almost, right there. If there's a-
Well, the thing we have to talk to them about is gotta let him know the high school schedule.
We can do that.
Well, I mean, they play tomorrow night on. That's the reason I said.
Yep.
As long as he can work around that. I make a motion, we go forward with the repair for $11,379.22.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0. Okay, dust control, 12th Road, the petition that's in your packet. And what did we come up with for prices on, the estimates on that?
All right, I'll just read my memo. There is a petition in your packet with a letter. Recently, citizens who live in the area of 12th Road, both inside and outside Marysville city limits, submitted a petition requesting improvements to 12th Road be included in the city's 5-year plan, and that dust control be put in place in 2022. City's response, currently, we do have 12th Road in the city's 5-year plan this year, money towards $200,000 towards engineering of the intersection of 12th Road and Highway 36, which could get a distance into 12th Road. These plans would be used for with Access Management Fund, and then 2024, $200,000 to pay for the initial project, as Access Management won't cover all the costs. And that, if you look at, we have the 5-year plan, which was decided last year, or the year before that. It was an alternating funding system. $200,000 for 11th Road, $200,000 for 12th Road, and vice versa. It keeps going back and forth, kind of work its way around city-controlled, so 11th Road and Keystone, where the city does control, and 12th Road, where the city does control. As for dust control and maintenance, the last time the city, Marysville, paid for any dust control in Marysville is in 2016. 12th Road, south of Cairo Road to Limestone Road is not controlled by the city of Marysville. The city has an agreement with Marysville Township to maintain this portion of 12th Road, and the city pays 50% of the rock used for the maintenance. After talking with one representative of the Marysville Township, they have 3, so take that in mind. They expressed no desire to use dust control. One of the main reasons is that once you put dust control down, the road cannot be graded or maintained. Otherwise, the road would lose dust control. We included a quote from Scottwood Industries, and they did not give a hard number. They gave us a per, I don't even know, but they gave a per gallon, which we could base the minimum off of, 4,300 gallon minimum. And that gives you $5,633 minimum to do dust control. I included some maps for explanations of where we're talking about. The first map, which I kind of want to bring this up on the screen so everybody sees it. One second.
$5,000.
Right. Okay. This first map that I have up, and it's also on page 26, shows you an outlined area of where the township has taxing authority. It's not in city limits. The next one, and that includes all that stretch between where Spring turns into Keystone, where you exit city limits and come back 11th Road, I believe. That is surrounded by township. So that's just an example of, that's a township road in between some city roads. The next one is where we're talking about. The very first portion of 12th Road on the north side is all city until you hit the property right south of the Hometown Drive. And it's even less on the other side. One house length to the north is in the township. Directly south of that, there's an area where the city does not have any control whatsoever between that last house and Keystone Road. From there on out, the city has 50-50 control right next to Keystone Edition, which is why we have an agreement with the township to do the maintenance. They do the maintenance. We just pay for the rock. They send us the bill. They're in charge of all the maintenance out there. That's where we're at as far as that goes.
So Austin, the property taxes out there at Keystone, are they, is there some type of proration there, or is it still taxed as a citizen of Marysville?
That Keystone Edition, they are in city limits.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. But the road right next to Keystone Edition is not.
Is there any prescribed frequency with which they grade that road now between Kiowa and Limestone?
No, and they've actually started grading the asphalt to the north up towards 36, back towards the pavement that is township property.
The reason I ask is that section there that's under no jurisdiction of the city is, it looks to me, as someone who's not out there as frequently as you would be, Jeff, pretty infrequently graded. It looks like it, I mean, the concern over that they can't grade it as frequently as they would like seems a little questionable, since I'm not sure how frequently they're grading it anyway. That's my point.
I believe the agreement, and I don't even know if it covers that portion of the road. To my understanding, it covers I may be wrong about this, it covers the ones where it's 50-50.
I can't imagine they would just not grade that section while they graded the 50-50.
Right,
I mean,
but I'm,
it's kind of crazy to turn the grader around, we're not gonna do that section.
And if I'm not mistaken, the agreement does not have any prescribed timelines or frequencies. It's just the idea, they send us a bill, we pay for 50%.
It's their judgment call, basically.
Weather plays into it a lot.
Oh, I'm sure.
If you have no moisture, you can't grade a road.
Well, I understand. And then once a little moisture comes, it becomes concrete.
No.
Or mud pit.
Once
that's
it
not
dries
true
out.
either. If they've knocked the base out of it, then it becomes muddy, and they'll turn black.
They've knocked the base out of it.
No, they haven't. They're
Yes,
using
they
a certain
yes, they
type of
have,
gravel that has to go through a rainstorm before it gets better.
They've knocked the base.
Now, I only know that because I drive it every day. I can tell you where that gravel's from. About 5 miles south of Marysville. Has lots of clay in it. Has to go through a rainstorm. Well, you can laugh, but I drive it every day, Jeff. That's how I go to work. Yeah, it's chuck holes because it's been dry and they haven't been able to cut them out.
Okay.
I'm not gonna argue with
I'm
you
not
either.
going to argue with you, I drive it too, partner.
Well, I'm not gonna argue. You're not gonna sit here and badmouth us. We don't own the road.
No one's badmouthing anyone here.
You know, if you wanna get in an argument with somebody, call up Marysville Township and argue with them.
I know in the past that, I mean, they used to do dust control because before, I think we got some of these other areas around town that were gravel roads that we got with different areas that were annexed. Was Breeding Heights
We
the
did
first
it
one?
twice only. We've only ever done it twice.
8th Road.
We did 8th Road when we
up
did
there.
when these guys asked, then 8th Road came back and said, we want it to.
Did we do Jayhawk or just discuss it?
Nope, we just
think
discussed
we
it. We've
did.
only ever done it twice.
Yeah.
Calcium chloride also gets really slimy when you put it on and it rains.
Yeah, it's a mud pit.
It eats your vehicles up. I got a Chevy I can show you at home, looks like it. The only thing you can do is suggest to them that maybe they try and mix a little sand in with it to calm down the dust. I don't know if they'll do that or not. You have to blade sand more often too.
Right. I mean, they'd probably charge us for it, which is, I mean, it is what it is.
And do they have a new blade guy?
I don't know who does it.
Well, there for a while, they're having a little trouble finding a blade guy.
Right.
I do know we did pay for sand last year. I think that was on 8th Road, but I'm not sure that they were putting onto the road for dust control. So I do know we did pay for some of that last year. I don't know how much good it did or which road it was on. I just know that we paid for it. I remember that being in there.
I know it's the same as the last time we did it. If we do approve this, we should expect to be approving it for other places that ask for it on that are in city limits.
You'll have Jayhawk and, yeah.
If you're gonna get a bid for calcium chloride, why don't we ask the guy in, Winifred that sprays it?
That's who this is.
No, this is Overland Park.
That's Overland
I
Park.
know that's who owns it, but
And is this
I don't know.
gallon minimum by site, or, I mean, is it like, once they mobilize to the city of Marysville? Because, I mean, there might be some efficiencies in doing it.
right.
I don't know, I mean, I have no
I
visualization
think this is a
of
company it
gallons.
goes through, but he was meeting with Wishlegger, so I think it's, yeah.
The-
They supply this stuff, but Wishlegger sprays it.
Okay.
So we're talking about the same
Okay.
people.
Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about the same people.
Well, I just know that he sprays it. He'll spray
Right.
it at all different times, that's the only reason.
Right,
I
because
say
he
that.
does it for individuals. We have we have people out by us that put
Yeah.
it on as well.
And I do know when they spray it, you know, they were supposed to build the road up and pack it, and then they put the material down, and then there's no more blading, if I remembered right, for
That's
60 to 90 days.
Yeah.
For the whole time you
For the
want it
whole,
to.
yeah.
So, if the township's opposed to it,
Mm-hmm.
but will they work with us on it?
Well, they'd have to get the road ready.
I know, I mean, but will they do that, or will they dig their heels in and say, we're not gonna do that because we don't want it? That's what I'm saying, it's a sticky wicket.
And they're not gonna pay their half either. They pretty well told you.
I mean, just reading the recommended road preparation of blading and pre-wetting, I mean, I don't know what kind of equipment they have at the township.
Then I think they have a maintainer, that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you have to lay the water down and?
Yeah, I think they're gonna pretty much.
I guess when we're on the subject, I mean, honestly, now's the time to ask. So, on the, capital improvement plan for 11th Road, South Keystone, 11th tier, we show 2021, $200,000. I'm assuming that's what we spent next to CJ's?
Yes.
Okay. And so then after that, and we're just gonna stay on that same road, 2023, we go back to another 200,000, and then 2025, another 200,000.
Right.
Is that still engineering fees or
No.
match funds?
A portion of that, so all we did to 11th Road South right there was get an engineer to make a plan and then implement it. The engineering for that portion of it was not, it was probably not $20,000.
Okay.
So it was get that engineered and implement it.
Okay, so now moving on to 12th Road, for 2022, we're showing 200,000. You noted that in your memo to the council and the public in general.
Right.
And that was for engineering?
That is, so if we are approved by KDOT to do that for us,
Which is through our
access management.
access management
So
study
the
plan.
access management only covers construction. So this year, the idea would be to get it engineered, the design work. Then when it goes in, we at least have to pay for the construction engineering, the inspection, on top of KDOT paying for the construction itself.
And then 2024, an additional 200,000.
Could take it up to the Iowa Road.
To
We hope.
Kiowa
You
being,
would hope.
That was the entrance just southwest of Hometown Drive, south entrance.
Okay. And what is the intent of the project? I mean, concrete the whole way? What's the intent there? That's what's black and white to the public.
The intent is to improve, one, the road, two, for the business access right there, and for access all the way around. Because that's what the prescribed project is. It's basically widening that intersection as well as going down 12th Road North, 12th Road South, and making that a better intersection for Hometown and their businesses around there, and then the new business that's right across the way.
As far as materials, my personal thought was concrete past the south radius of the Hometown lumber entrance, because that would cover most of your heavy truck turning traffic.
Well,
if the material question.
Yeah, and I disagree, because the road going north, the Oquito Road, I think is a pretty good road, but that doesn't matter right now. We also got to think about the return to service for a concrete project. But then the other thing I notice here out of this plan is just in this short time frame, we have 4 different mobilizations for a project. And have we seriously looked at any other options on top of concrete out to the radius of Hometown lumber?
Well, I think the comparison to the Oquito, first, I'm gonna dial it back a second.
Well, more traffic.
Oquito Road, I don't know how much more traffic, but I can tell you less slow motion turning traffic. I mean, I don't see Landall asphalting any of Shop 50's lot. There's a reason, right? I mean, heavy truck turning traffic is gonna tear that up.
Where's the county pull in at?
What do you mean?
Where does the county trucks?
Go to their shop?
Yeah.
Just up there north on the Oquito Road.
Okay, so
they're not loaded though.
Okay, so, and the fertilizer and grain trucks that turn to go north?
Technically, there's not supposed to be anything on
Okay,
there
well,
except for Marietta.
Technicalities, but.
Yeah, but they've also spent a small pile of all of our tax dollars on that. County likes to provide a lot of good stuff to the county and pretend the city doesn't pay those taxes, but that's neither here nor there. They've done a lot more work on that than we have done South 12th. That's not to excuse us. We should be spending more on South 12th.
They've resurfaced it, they reseal it like every 3 years.
It is maintenance. It's kind of like buying a car. You have to change the oil every once in a while.
I'd hate to bring this back, but we haven't even entered the design phase of 12th Road.
Good.
And we got to get KDOT's approval to actually move forward on that. And so we can discuss that at a later date.
Thank you.
Back to what we have at hand in dust control, I guess.
Well, broad strokes, I'm in favor of doing this, since obviously the people there want it and they see value in it. My biggest concern is how you navigate that with the township that doesn't want it. That's my concern, because I'm never one to throw good money after bad.
I don't know if the township doesn't want it, they just don't want to pay anything for it.
Yeah, but they've also got to do the preparation work.
Yeah.
And that's my thing, is if they'll do that and not pay for it, okay, then it is what it is, but.
Yeah.
The worst part is in 90 days, that road will be so undrivable. It'll be worse than it is now.
They'll slow traffic down though. Hey, just silver lining it for you.
Well, I'm not in favor for it because it's their road, not ours. I don't want somebody telling us what to do with our roads.
You could always take it. We've done that before when we've had disagreements on roads that are on the edge. I'm not recommending that. I'm just saying it's a thing that happens. I'm sure they'd give it to us. They'd be happy to.
Annex it.
That's what I'm saying. We've done that.
I think you've already annexed the property out there.
Not all of it.
There's no chance we're
gonna.
You'll
You're
never
not
get the
gonna
farm
annex.
ground.
You're not going to get that farm ground.
It's not available.
You'll
for
never get
annexation.
that one stretch.
You're not gonna get Wilkins and.
The ones that are out there that have over 20 acres are keeping their 20 acres.
10 acres.
for
It's 10 acre
whatever it
cutoff,
is.
yeah.
Specifically for that reason, they don't want to be in city limits.
They're not gonna come in.
Can we officially approach the township and have that discussion with them rather than one board? Here's the deal. I wouldn't want somebody asking the city's opinion by any one of the people at this.
Correct. Yeah. Yes, we can.
We can have a meeting. We've had a meeting I don't know if it'll be very productive, but we have had a meeting with them before. I
I mean,
think
they
it was
can blade it
about
more
rock.
often, I mean, put sand on it, I mean, there's a number of other options they can work with. Better rock.
We had that discussion too, and I don't know, so they got the rock just south of town, cause I know we'd had a discussion about getting rock from a different source.
From the color that it is, I'm assuming.
Okay.
rate is high.
Cause that's part of it, is that is a,
But also
like
where
you're
you're
saying,
headed
there's a lot
is-
of other stuff in that rock. It's not-
If you guys are headed at hiring more people again, because now you're gonna put more load on.
We can schedule a meeting with the township if that's,
That would be probably a good start.
I'd
And
move that way.
And I would like to have, I'd like to have some more concrete numbers of it, a little bit better of an idea exactly.
That'd be a good thing to schedule with the, street committee, so they understand where we're coming from and.
Yep.
There's a lot of levers that can be pulled here, so let's pull them deliberatively.
Constructively. It might be time for a new maintainer.
That's what you're gonna buy next. And they're cheap. Nothing 250,000 won't fix.
So what's the timeline?
You can do it anytime you want.
Get it back for next meeting.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, if this could come back for the next meeting, that'd be good.
Can
So
we
that
set
way
up,
we're not
can we
delaying
set up a
anything.
meeting, not next week, the week after? Can you try to get that group
Okay.
together and
Okay.
then the committee?
I thought that was the week that you were really busy.
No, it'd be an excuse.
Okay.
Hopefully nobody knows what I'm
So-
talking
So,
about.
the first week in April, you would like me to try to schedule it. Who else is on street?
I'm on street.
You're on
And
street,
Kyle.
you're on street.
Yep.
Do you guys have any issues, any days that I can, when I start calling them?
We can take care of that offline.
yeah.
Yeah.
let's-
Okay.
let's-
Okay.
Outline for me. We don't have anything on notices and hearings. Next up is the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
With the addition of
Oh,
what was
yeah.
asked before, correct?
360.
360 plus
50 for
social media.
Yep.
410.
Right,
As
okay.
amended.
It'll be 1810. Okay.
Second, sorry.
Okay. All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0. Next up, we have appropriations ordinance number 3769.
Move to approve appropriation ordinance 3769, amount of $994.56.
Second.
Okay. Roll call?
Fry,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Snelling,
Yes.
Reitman,
Yes.
Baraki,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Barons,
Yes.
Rom,
Yes.
8-0.
Okay. Next up, staff reports. Austin?
All right, first on the list is fire station meeting room rental policy. Included is a policy recommendation for the use of a new fire station meeting room. It includes $50 towards the rental of the room and $50 cleaning deposit that would be refunded if the meeting space is left in good condition. First, the idea is that the fire station meant primarily to house the firefighter activities, which is why the fire department is given priority when scheduling meetings. The document also outlines rules for using the rooms. Like I said, it's a recommendation. This is something they'd come in and sign off on, or the people renting the room. We'd hopefully have everything pre-scheduled through, that the firefighters are doing. They normally have their set days. And that way, we're not scheduling over them and go from there. Any comments, questions?
So if a for-profit entity wanted to use it, they could?
Yes. Yeah, there's not a restriction on out there, just like there is in here. That's,
Well, I mean, if somebody wanted to rent it for a garage sale or heaven knows what, are we cool with that? Because somebody will ask.
I mean,
They
if
will.
they're paying to rent it,
Okay.
you know?
So,
I don't
no,
know.
I mean, that's just
if they're
a
not
legitimate question.
if they're not destroying, well, they're not gonna be able to use the garages,
No,
obviously.
oh, of course. Exactly what I saw.
But,
Well, really in number two, it says business
yeah.
meetings, organizational meetings, classes and trainings. It does not
Yeah, I would say
say
garage
garage
sales.
sales
Yeah.
and parties.
But they could, yeah,
That's not
define
what it
business
says.
meeting.
I don't know if a garage sale could be a business meeting, but maybe.
If you're doing
Well,
business.
I mean, it's a good question. Don't they use the Armory
Yes.
every year for the Route 36 one?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah,
I
People
mean-
do, but this, we were told was going to be a meeting space,
yeah.
not a,
I think the first time they try to carry their stuff into a standard sized door, they're probably not gonna like a garage.
Or they're gonna
sale.
beat up the doorway. I'm just, I mean.
right,
you
no,
know,
I mean,
wear
that,
and
it
tear.
was set up as
Yeah.
a business space, not
Right.
as a,
Do they have access to whatever videography and all that kind of stuff that we're putting down there?
Yes, so they can do presentations down there. That's
But
the,
are you using the city's equipment, or do they need?
no, there's an HDMI port.
Okay, all
That
right,
you
thank
just
you.
hook into that, yeah.
You know, there's no alcohol beverages, which, I mean,
It's
generally
city-
speaking, it's a
city
city
property.
rule.
Yeah.
But we do grant exceptions to that.
Right.
So is that something that can be applied for? Can anything outside these rules, somebody come and ask special permission for, or is this like full carved in stone?
well, it
I
says
ask
no
because these are
alcoholic.
the things that
But,
come
well,
up.
we don't say
Okay.
that at the art center, so if you don't want that in here, then we gotta take it out.
Let me, hold on, let me just phrase this in a politically correct. You guys have the ability to not skirt the rules, but amend the rules on the fly.
Well, right.
So, in the park, people ask for alcohol, even though there's a sign that says no
No
alcohol.
alcohol. Yeah.
That
So,
was, no.
that's saying that's, but the intention is not. So that you guys have the power,
Well,
but
And
we're
it closes
recommending
down
not.
at midnight, so it wouldn't be very
Right.
much of a party anyway.
Yeah.
For me, it'd be fun.
Yeah, that all depends.
But, and so the intention, yes, is not to overburden, I mean, $50 is, I mean, if they destroy something, it's not gonna cover very much on that cleaning deposit.
So who inspects it after each one?
That hasn't been determined, but we would schedule a cleaner, which is why the $50, per is to pay somebody to come in and clean
But
it
if you have
afterwards.
alcohol, you're gonna need a higher deposit, and everybody
Well,
that has
no,
alcohol has a
to be
much
clear,
higher
I'm
deposit.
not recommending it amongst other things because it's an emergency services building. Like, don't even mess with having alcohol in it,
Right.
frankly. But again, somebody
Right.
will ask. And
Yep,
I mean, other cities that allow alcohol they'll have one fee for this, but then they'll put like a $750 deposit of the alcohol.
a non-refundable one, then we'll see who comes and gets
Oh,
it.
yeah, I don't know about refundable, I didn't ask that question.
but, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I just, I guess having a little more, my thought is having a little more prescribed what the inspection procedures are, just because something will come up damaged or missing or whatever, and then it'll be well, so-and-so never signed off on it.
Right.
They have to sign this before we ever give them
Right.
the code.
But you know how lawyers are, they'll wiggle their way through anything.
Yeah.
Like a checklist for everything that has to be
Yeah.
cleaned
Yeah.
before.
Just a little more
Yeah.
structure to it, I think would be, anything you can do to help avoid a potential future headache for Cindy.
Yeah.
What about the handicapped pets? Are they not allowed in there?
Service animals, you mean?
Oh, service
Yeah.
animals, I think that's understood, we can't keep them out of
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah, but you think it ought to be listed in there?
Well, I don't
Say
know,
you have no pets shall be permitted on premises.
right,
But unless it's, I think should be
You
stated.
could just put in there service animals. Accepted,
Service
I mean,
animals are
it's
not
granted, but.
Exception service animals.
Yeah. You see those a
we
lot
were
of places.
curious about that because we have some that aren't just dogs in town.
Horses and
Mhm.
Ponies, whatever.
Plus, there's
Peacock.
I
people
don't
that
know if
have
you wanna go
service
there, if you
animals
want
that
them
are
on
not
your
really
concrete
service
floor or
animals.
not.
Well, we don't get to make those laws, that's a federal decision.
Right.
It's above our pay grade.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, any other concerns about the rules? Questions? Any other additions? There we go. That'll be good.
And do you think it's high enough rent? Do you think it's high enough deposit? I mean, I don't know what, do you think the deposit should be more? I mean, if you're gonna, I'm just asking, because we just threw a number out.
The best argument I have for raising that price would be that other places that have rental spaces don't feel like the city's coming in and
undermining them.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the others are either.
I'm not sure they're all more than that.
Okay.
That's extremely reasonable.
Okay. I mean, if you think we need to change that or you want to talk about it.
Which is why we kind of limited, it was another justification to limit down to a
What you could
narrow
do there.
scope.
What?
No parties.
That way we weren't like trying to attract anybody. It was just, hey, we get calls, hey, do you got a meeting space available for this? And sometimes there'll be something in here and we can go, hey, it's right over there. So as a public good for, not entertainment, but for educational
The
purposes.
very fact we get schedule conflicts here speaks to there's a need. So.
Right. So I mean, I'm just, you think it's okay or you think you could change
I know Lincoln Center, you used to be able to just use it. They're letting anybody use it because they have so many repairs that need to be done. Well, and with people using it, they didn't have time to even schedule.
Of course, the counter argument to you don't want to undermine it is people, I paid a lot of tax dollars for that, and now you're going to try to get me one more
Right.
way.
I mean, it's fine. I mean, if we really, what would I say, keep it down to just classes and organizations and trainings, then that really narrows your problem. It also narrows your issues of what's gonna be broken.
So, do these, trainings and things, do they have access to the Wi-Fi network? They do. Full access.
There's a guest.
There's a guest.
There's a guest, and there's an HDMI cable so they can use the video stuff.
Is the guest open, or is it like we grant the password and we change it occasionally?
We would grant them the password, yes.
Otherwise we're gonna get people parking it.
Oh, absolutely, right.
Like we do at the library.
Exactly. I guess I think leave it how it is with this, see how it goes. If we can come, that's the kind of thing I could see us of changing in a year or whatever,
Sure.
but it's a start.
And we'll come up with
My
a checklist for cleaning what they're supposed to put back to where it has to go. Okay.
Review it in a year.
Yeah.
Okay. Do that.
What? Oh, no, you're gonna approve this or what?
Oh,
Yeah, do you want to approve it? Yeah. You wanna vote?
Move to approve.
Second.
any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now the interesting stuff.
Okay. I'm putting this up on the screen again, just so people out there can see. We recently had, the report from HK Solutions, from when they cleaned and cameraed our storm and sanitary sewers. In their report, they pointed out some issues. Included are a couple of bigger issues. Overall, the report, I'd say for as much line as they looked at, wasn't too bad. There are just some major issues. The one area I want to talk about tonight is just right down the road here on Carolina in front of Cromie's. And I have it highlighted in red up there on the storm sewer. There is a blockage. We believe that this is a service line of some sort, holding up rock. It's on page 38. Pretty much taking up half of the 36 inches of storm sewer. Our guess at this point in time, because I had them mark the utilities over in that area, and our guess is this is the water service line for Pepsi. Because lines right up with the gap between, between the two buildings, Crummie's and, what's the other building? Marcan. So that's, their buildings heads right to where their meter goes. And their, one of our staff member had guessed, because we had dug it up before, where that service line was, and it was, I marked it within 2 feet of where they measured it. So it looks like they bored through our storm sewer, to get this service line in.
It has its wonders.
Yeah.
And we don't know who.
Yeah, so it's a guess at I'm 80% sure that this is the service line, the water service line. When I first looked at it, we thought it was a gas line, but gas is on the other side of the street, and it just wasn't panning out.
It's a water line, it can be dug out on both
I was gonna
sides. The blue plastic tube put in underneath and redone.
I'm no hydrologist, but I think that restriction would really hurt the flow.
You think that could be part of our flooding over here?
Especially with all the debris that's in front of it.
Yeah, I know all that, and that's not debris that's gonna go anywhere.
No.
It might as well be.
Okay. And then the second portion is along that same line, about 50 feet away. It's collapsed. Sort of a bigger problem than just moving that water line. I'm thinking by the time you get to this, because they're looking at this from the other side. I don't know how far this is collapsed.
From the west going back east?
Yes,
Okay.
they were stopped at that pipe, so they went the other way. I don't know how far that pipe is collapsed in there. So the question I'm posing for you is not if we should do anything about this at this point in time, is do you want staff to do this, or do you want us to go out and get a contractor?
How far below the surface is this collapse?
It's 4 feet. It's not a very deep one.
Okay, I think that,
I don't know.
we'd have to put a box trench in.
What does staff have going on? Let's go with that question.
Lots of stuff. Which I wouldn't even ask this if I wasn't leaning towards a contractor.
Because our staff sometimes is stretched too thin and we can't get what we need to get done.
Complete. If we contract this out, what's the theoretical timeline?
As soon as they can get in. I haven't talked to any contractors yet.
I'd like to think we're coming into rainy season soon.
At some point, yes.
I would think that would only be like probably a 30-day.
That's what I was thinking.
Dig it in.
And not
dig
putting it
out.
on staff is just another way to speed that up
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. That way we can stay on task. So I wanted to pass that by you. Like I said, let's go back to that main map. I hope we don't have to dig up that red area, but I have a feeling we have to dig up that red area.
If we can get this fixed before it's a lot of rainfall and things, it'd be a good way to test and see how much problems it solves.
Exactly.
Well, can we try and figure out how much we have to dig up?
Yes.
Well, the reason I say that is there's a business right there.
Yes.
That you might dig it up and he can't get into his buildings.
Correct. And I did talk to, because he caught me while I was out there marking this stuff. He was pretty happy that we found something and we didn't have to dig the rest of the street up. So yes, we can definitely work with them. That's not an issue. He wants not flooding in his area.
I don't disagree one bit.
I don't blame you.
But I would rather see a contractor do it.
Okay.
In case they get in a lot deeper.
I can arrange for that.
I just think they'll have better equipment, I think. More feasible equipment.
The timetable.
Timetable is this versus.
Yeah, they can get in, get it done, and get out.
So that's a consensus.
Consensus, yes. I'll work on getting a
Because
contractor.
we'll work on it for a day, and then we'll get called away for a day, and then maybe 2, and then we'll get back.
Well, and the business owners and the people who live there, everybody's in favor of it being done expeditiously.
Okay, if there's no other questions on that, I'll talk about a couple other points that are not emergencies, but are just another examples of the fun stuff that goes on in storm sewer that probably should have been handled a long time ago. This right here is a picture from this, the west manhole on Highway 36 that's in red. 6 feet in from that manhole is what I'm guessing is the service.
Fell cams.
Yeah.
I think this is fell cams.
Yeah.
And I think this is.
So that's,
Be the
that's that
old,
old house across from the Mexican
Okay,
restaurant.
okay, now I know.
My theory.
Doesn't have anything for sale.
Yeah. My theory is that this right here is the sewer service line for that old house. It holds up, what, 6 inches of water in a 48-inch pipe. Again, water can get over it. It's not holding up half the pipe. We'll need to fix it. Hopefully we can maybe abandon this house and convince them to abandon the house and maybe get rid of it, even though they're maintaining it constantly. And then that way we could just cut it off, take it out, and remove that. That's not the biggest issue. Because we can get, since it's right at the manhole, somebody who's confined space trained can get into the area, cut that, and then seal it up. And then problem solved. We don't need that sewer line anymore. And then when they line it, they just cover up the hole. That way we're not having infiltration. So that's not a big issue as of right now. Just wanted you guys to see. Same line out by, is that the Mountain Dew building? I think that's Mountain Dew.
Fenwick,
Yeah.
Fenwick Oil Building.
Yeah. Right out there, there is another line that doesn't look like a sewer main, but it looks like they did this on purpose. It's not bored in. They mortared that in.
Yeah, it's been bored in.
No, it's not bored.
No, it's mortared.
No, it's mortared.
Oh,
They saw what they were doing when they did this. They sealed it up.
If it's a gas line, I think we just get old KP&L and have them.
They took out a block and mortared
Yes,
around
yes, they
it.
did.
No accident.
Again, no, not an accident. Again,
They don't want dirt getting there.
again,
Worms,
if you look
roots.
at the normal flow, or at least the heavy flow on this, the white area at the bottom, it all goes underneath the pipe. Not causing a major issue. Yes, we probably want it moved in the future. Hopefully, maybe solving the aforementioned will get more flow on this pipe. But
How deep down is that section?
that's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't
Yeah,
include
'cause
those.
it's on the highway, that's
They
flat.
did not include those notes on this. But I think the sewer main is pretty deep, which is why you get that slope on this other one pretty good. But you could, I mean, it's obviously not really deep, if that is indeed a service line.
It's a service line and it's going to the old Pepsi building there, I would think that would be,
Oh, to that gas main?
or is a gas main, whatever it is.
This one, it looks like a gas main, yeah. Or a gas something. Anyways, I wanted to keep, those were the main, like, what were you thinking sections of this. Didn't see too many more collapsed. There was a lot of, there's debris, I think Alston, or maybe it was Calhoun, that had just silt in the bottom of the storm sewer. But nothing like what this collapse or
Those,
that blockage. There's some where they couldn't get to that probably needs some addressing, but these are the emergency sections right here that could solve a lot of issues. There's another section I'm looking at, and I didn't include it on this, that's at the end of, it's like on 5th Street, where the storm sewer comes down and hits a T in the highway on 5th Street, goes upstream and then hits that angle at 48 Brick and goes back down Fifth Street. I think we're thinking that's holding up some water too. So maybe continuing that cross section down to Fifth versus trying to fight might help as well. But I think once we fix this part on Carolina, we're going to see a lot of relief. But does anybody have any questions on any of this yet?
Have any idea cost-wise? We're talking probably.
Nope, nope, not yet. I just went over these last week, and I wanted to notify you guys.
Have you got the film from the sanitary sewer yet going through there?
We got all the film.
That's
There's
all good.
there's no manholes. There's no manholes where we're gonna put manholes in. So that's not a good surprise. There is on this Brick one, they found a manhole that's not on the map and it's covered up, I believe, for the storm sewer at 9th Street. That's probably the one thing we found that's not in our logs. And we got a better idea of the storm sewer up at Frank Marshall. It doesn't turn, like it doesn't do that elbow like the map thinks it does. It's more of a turn. So the engineers will be able to take that into effect and see if we need to do any upgrades or anything like that. They had to stop at some point that didn't let the camera go through. So there might be a fix in there somewhere, but it wasn't as clear as you can see on these pictures.
Do you think you'll have something for us by next meeting on these? That'll be enough time to talk to contractors and...
Probably not. I wouldn't guarantee next meeting, but I will try. Okay, if there's nothing else, Cindy, you are...
Mr. Carey declined that bonus, and I know that letter was in the last info packet, and I just need to have something in the minutes that say that he declined it, so the auditors don't go back and say, hey, you were supposed to pay somebody and you didn't pay him, what'd you do with his money? And I just wanted it to be noted in the minutes, and that you all knew that I was putting it in the minutes that he had declined that bonus, if that's okay with everybody?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then, we put spring cleanup week. We've had some questions, people talking to us about when we go around and pick up leaves and brush and whatever. And that is the week of the 18th to the 22nd. It'll be done in sections like we've been doing. That's worked out really well. We've had great response from people that the dump is open every day, and a lot of them are, removing shrubs and things now, and they can take them out there, and we've had a lot of favorable comments on those things.
Did we get back into the road ties that somebody dumped up?
Yeah, we know who did it. Yes, yes, we did.
Our camera system is working. That's the second time that we've been able to figure out who dumped what they shouldn't have dumped, and the police will address it.
Yeah. We haven't had too many problems, but occasionally people dump stuff.
Right, and we do have people that are looking out for the dump, which is awesome.
Yeah, citizens will call us up and say, hey, somebody dumped this out here and we don't want to lose our dump. So the neighbors are watching.
Yes.
That's good. What we want.
Okay.
And that's all I had.
Nothing else? Okay. Standing committee reports. First up, street. You have anything for street?
I see they're sealing streets right and left yet with the little sealers, so crack sealing, so.
Mhm, yes.
I had a question, some of the folks from Keystone Edition mentioned, do we have a traffic counter that we use? I think I've asked this years ago, but I can't remember.
We used to have one, but I don't know that it's functional anymore. I don't know that.
I think it needs some updated equipment. There is a traffic counter. I don't know if it works.
I don't know how expensive it would be to fix it, or even get those simple dingy ones the state uses that has like a mechanical counter on them. I could see this being used in multiple places over time to, justify things or verify it. Is that something we can look into? I mean, I don't see why we wouldn't want one.
County may have one, cause they used to have one out on our gravel road. My gravel road's the busiest one in this county, they tell me.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and if they
So
all let us.
they had to figure it out somehow.
They'll let us check it out and use it, I'm all for
Yeah,
that, but.
I don't know.
I don't know if that would be something, if we could have one and we can repair it, or we can use it, or we can borrow, or whatever. I'd be curious to know. I mean, there's a lot of people who, no offense, think they have the busiest street and wherever.
Yeah, I know.
And,
Without proof,
we
you
can
can't
prove
prove it.
that.
You got
if
it.
we want to.
Yeah.
So, the other thing I had was, and the barbecue thing brought it up, is, I could have waited till roundtable, but I won't. Trash cans on Broadway.
Okay.
It'd be really cool to have those in place before the barbecue and car show.
So start scheduling
'Cause
a
there's-
meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They're falling apart.
Okay.
Did you find some fairly reasonable priced ones?
The last conversation was that, there'd be a committee that chose the ones we wanted. When I kept searching, I thought, oh, that would be great, and then, somebody else said that was terrible, so I just deferred. I'm gonna defer to the decision makers, and that way they can,
Because I know
take the
most of
heat
them I've
for.
looked at are $379 to $700 to $800, depending on what
And
designs you get on them.
And to
for-
just reiterate what Todd had said at the last one, talking about, he chose a nice one that's on a pedestal, and it's small. And, I mean, we could put more out there, but Cindy did ask Gary about how full the trash cans get. Well, they don't get full out in the near 10th and all that stuff, but right around where there's apartments, they seem to collect more trash.
A lot of trash.
On Fridays, or that's when they go pick up the trash.
So
Those, I don't think we could downsize necessarily. The only option that looked like was gonna work for a pedestal would be looking like exactly what we have now. I mean, you could change them to not wood, but to, like the, not wire, but like the decking material.
Yeah, it's like plastic infused or whatever.
They
I've
would
heard
last
they call that
longer,
right now.
and you could pick whatever color you wanted, but they look exactly like what we have right now.
Otherwise, there's pretty much gonna be a compromise. I spent way too much time one night looking at Google image searches of trash cans.
Yes.
There's all sorts of
So
sizes
you're either gonna get
and
smaller,
shapes.
or you're gonna get, ugly, or you're gonna get long wearing, or you're gonna get fragile. There's gonna be.
There's gonna be a trade-off
Yeah,
somewhere.
there's trade-offs.
And you're trying not to impede the people who are shoveling snow and removing
Right.
all that stuff. You don't want something that'll catch, I mean, maybe that's a good thing, it'll catch trash right at the base, so you can just pick it up and put it
Well, and
in.
it's tricky because you want it so close to the buildings that people can't get through there, and you don't want it so close to the street that people hit it.
Yeah.
And then we're dodging squirrels too. I mean, it's kind
Yeah, so I was deferring to the committee. Which committee were we sending that to?
well, anything that Todd wasn't on.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, well, kind of.
I mean, you could translate that into Parks and Rec because those trash
Yeah,
cans could
and that
translate
was
along
pretty
the
much
trail.
where, it was either that or street, and street's already meeting, so, but not with those people.
But Kyle's on Parks and Rec too.
Yeah, he is. So it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
As long as somebody's making, I just thought if we have time to get it done by June, that would be
It would be nice to have
Would
Don's
have that
input,
timeline.
maybe.
Okay. I mean, is that something the street committee would be willing to pick up since you're already meeting?
Yeah. Throw it on here, why not?
That's pretty exciting.
I recommend you do some Google searches on trash cans. That way you can.
I feel like it's a rabbit hole.
It is gonna be a rabbit hole.
It's a big one.
Hey, but you have a business on Main Street.
It's bigger than a rabbit hole.
I've went down that rabbit hole, and that's why and maybe, okay.
So we're talking about 24 trash cans and, okay.
Yeah, trash cans. Okay, gotcha, Todd.
Okay, anything else on the street? Water and wastewater treatment?
Are they going to come back with us with plans for the lagoons and the pump station and all that, or?
They're doing a lot of preliminary work right now to make sure what's working. The surveyors were just out last week.
Okay, well, you know, they were in and talked to us, and then we
Right.
haven't heard
They had
anything
to,
from
they had to
anybody.
wait until after you guys approved the CDBG agreement.
Okay.
That's
was
the
a
only
key.
holdup, yep.
Okay. Just curious, 'cause like I said, they were here and we talked about the wetlands and all that, and then it's like everyone disappeared.
Yeah, no,
Oh, no,
they're
I got
working
a new
on it.
notebook on it now.
The day that, the agreement was approved, they actually had surveyors,
Okay.
working on it, so, yeah.
Anything else on water, wastewater? Parks and Rec? Cemetery and Airport. I had this on there. It's that time of year when the lease agreements are due to be renewed on the hangars out there at the airport. I think, what, April 1st? We've got a couple of them that have been turned in. The thing is, on some of these, and I know last year we kind of amended that lease agreement a little bit, and then we mailed out notices to the people out there that had them, is that you were supposed to have a functioning aircraft of some type in those
In your
hangars
hangar?
out there, yes. Not farm equipment or whatever. So I guess we need to decide on some of these, what we're gonna.
So if they don't have a plane in it, we charge them.
Yes. But,
If they do have a plane, the
but that
press
doesn't
pays for
change,
it.
but that's still in violation of the lease. The
Right.
lease says you
Right.
have to have a plane. The charging was only the rule of the guy who paid all the leases for them. That was.
3 of them out there, I believe, 3,
could
right, that are not getting their leases paid for by that fund.
Because there's not a plane in it.
Because there aren't, as far as they know anyway.
Well, how do we handle that?
Well, that's what we're asking you.
Well, it's the
We're gonna
thing.
ask them to sell their hangars. How do you want to address it?
So basically, are you okay with, not signing, because there are some that have turned it in, right? They've turned theirs in that do not comply with the lease, and you have not signed them.
No, I'm not signing the ones
so
that won't comply until
Basically,
council tells me to sign them, otherwise
Yeah.
they're not in compliance as far as I'm concerned.
basically, are you okay with not reissuing a lease and almost an eviction off the land? I don't know how that process goes, because it is their structure. We just own the land on it.
Well, that was the whole intent.
I thought would be the city have conversations with those tenants about what is your plan? You know, is this a
Yes.
temporary situation? Are you, doing this? Are you selling? I think that's the tip.
Yeah.
Communications,
Because the city,
communication's always
I'm
the
not,
answer.
I'm not saying we tell them, hey, tear the structure down. It's a
And I
worst
have
case scenario.
proposed some people who would like, hangars.
Yeah.
To people who own the hangars now.
There's a market for it,
Yeah,
so
I mean, I
that's
have
why-
proposed there, I have 3 people right now, I think, that would like to have a hangar. Technically, under FAA regulations, if somebody wants one and you don't have a plane in it, you're supposed to give it up. How that'd go in the end?
Right, because in theory, anybody who owns one could say no, and they just pull it all out of the ground and take it.
Right, right.
Truck it away.
Or somebody can
And and
purchase it.
realistically, we don't want that.
No,
We
don't.
want the hangars to be
Absolutely,
maintained,
No.
because
I mean, I'm not saying the city couldn't work out something where we would even buy 1 or 2 of them. We've talked before about having hangars for when people fly in.
I don't
for
know
a
if
few
any
days
of
or
them are
whatever.
big enough to actually
I-
house a plane. Some of them are
I-
too small, they
yeah,
tell me.
it depends on like your typical wingspan. Because some of them especially are, it was built for planes of a different era.
Right, that's
So
what
if
they
you're
told me.
running an old Cessna, yeah, okay, you can use it, but a lot of newer stuff.
Wouldn't fit in there. So,
At least that's what I was told.
but yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, how do we?
And I can get in contact with them. I mean, if we know who they are, or we think we do.
That would be my, and I say this.
And I did
as
talk to
as
one.
of them on the airport
Well, actually, I've
committee.
talked to two. One told me he was gonna keep doing what he was doing. You can probably figure that one out. And one told me, he had a frame in there and he wasn't sure, and somebody had actually broke into his hangar while he wasn't here, so he wasn't real happy about that. Anyway.
I think, doing that, and if they're, act like maybe they're interested in selling, I mean.
Yeah, which, I mean, I have some
leading the
names.
horse to water, as
Right,
it
I
were.
have some names. Would you like?
Sure you do.
Yep.
What happens to our, federal money if we have hangars up there that aren't?
I haven't received any threats or anything like that,
doubt
or
it
enforcement.
jeopardizes that, I mean,
But they always tell us every time.
Yeah.
Well, I was reading their deal that's dictated by the
It
FFA
is.
for the following
The
use
my-
of the hangar.
Yeah, my read of it is, reading through what other airports all over the country, if push came to shove, they could, but the FAA doesn't wanna micromanage that. They wanna delegate that to
There's not a lot of,
municipalities.
I mean, we get security inspections, and as far as that goes, I mean, other than that, we do have FAA engineers coming out every once in a while. They'll go, hey, you need to cut the trees down over here and do this and that, but.
They're more interested in that,
Don't they
those
ask
big
us?
structural than the operational side.
Like, don't they ask us how many planes are here? We do have to report that.
Base.
When we get a grant.
All they do, no, every year.
Yeah.
Every
every
year
year,
we do
okay.
a based aircraft tower.
Because they do ask that question.
And the based aircraft is, registered. They register that this is their home base where they store their, and it's best for us, I think the minimum is 10 planes, and I think we hit that minimum, 10 planes.
When we changed this, wasn't that the intent?
it was, when we mailed out, I think, notices to all
We
the
did.
people out there, notified them of the
changing.
changes.
Yep.
Just wanted to make sure they had plenty of heads up so that it sprung on them.
So they've had a year now to,
Yeah.
comply with this. You have 3 of them, you say?
I think so, yeah.
They talk to each one individually and tell them you're not in compliance with the city's law? See what they're gonna do about it.
See how long they need.
Yeah.
Is
if
that
there
the
is a
question we
time
can
frame.
ask, see how long they need?
That
What
seems
is the
reasonable.
timeframe?
I mean, that's kind of what we do with any other thing
Yeah.
that's not in compliance anywhere in the city is like, hey, this is notification, warning track, discussions.
Well, it should be their second notification.
Is there, okay, so is there a time, like, 2 months, 3 months?
60 days.
60 days? Yeah. I mean, is that where we're headed, or are we trying to just feel them out?
I don't see, for myself, I don't see that it needs 60 days. I mean, 60 days sounds good, but gave somebody up the hill on Carolina like 4 years. I'm not saying we recommend that on a demolition project. Slow roll. Walter?
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we could, that's the other extreme, obviously. But I'd say talk to them and then come bring it back and then have that discussion.
See if
Because
they-
if you get 3 people who are like, I'm in the process of selling, got a plane coming, but it's, broke down in Salina, get that information and then make the decision based on those specifics.
Okay,
But, I mean, then if 60 days makes sense, then do it.
okay.
Anybody else have anything on cemetery and airport?
The airport, building looks nice.
I need to get out there and see it.
See, I've only got to see pictures.
Seen a few pictures.
After they got that ALOS back online, is that when it started showing up?
We had to get a part that we were missing, the part they had to get in.
But
Little
the
bit.
weather,
Yeah, it shows up on 13.
Oh, okay.
showing up now.
Anything else, cemetery and airport? Police and fire?
That meeting is,
What'd you say,
Wednesday at 5. The police and fire committee meeting on the nuisance stuff.
We had any luck on fit in the inspector position?
Well, we had one person, and he said he was gonna talk to his wife, and he never called back. So that's where we are with that at this point. His wife might have said, no.
Why do we hire a second inspector? Why don't
We don't have to, we can make it work. if
Well,
you
no,
want us
but
to.
why don't we look more at the direction of making the inspector, code enforcement, his job title that he has, why doesn't he do that? And why don't we look in the direction of, I don't know if maintenance is the right word for that person.
Kinda.
They were originally
You're saying
hired as
split
maintenance.
that job into 2 positions, that's what you're thinking?
All I'm saying is don't put the maintenance work on the inspector, code enforcer. Let him do his inspecting, code enforcing 8 hours a day. That's what I'm saying.
And just hire the maintenance?
Yeah. I mean, if you really look at it, you're trying to hire somebody to do half his job because it's gotten so busy. Because I just think that you may have more applications for a maintenance side of it also. A lot of people don't wanna be the bad guy.
Right.
I mean, that's really what it is.
Right.
They don't wanna be the bad guy and they don't wanna be tied up on Wednesday nights in court.
I mean, that's a fair point. I hired Will because he was the building guy. I mean, he's had the experience with the intention of him learning the code enforcement side.
Right.
Because nobody has experience in code enforcement except the person who's been doing it for however many years. So I've found people that are up to Will's level, kind of, but when I was looking for his position, it was a challenge in itself. If we would like, we could create a separate position to separate out, those two, and then create a code enforcement position. If we want to go that way, I just feel Will's talents are it's not necessarily maintenance, but it's the overall picture of city shops and stuff like that he helps on a regular basis. But we can go in any direction. First of all, I'm hoping to get a code, because the main portion of their job is in the middle of not in the middle of the summer, but coming up.
Well, we'll just kind of wait. See if we get some applicants.
Yeah. And we can try to do more.
Right.
You know,
And
make sure we get an electrician, don't have Will do it, make sure we get a plumber, don't have Will do it.
We just did that for Lakeview. We hired somebody to go out
So
and
we
do
can
that.
do more of that.
Definitely do that.
It's easier to.
And there's nothing wrong with that, because we have him strapped so tight.
Yeah.
He can't get anything else done.
Right, no, and
Everything kind of gets dumped on that position.
It does.
It doesn't fall
It
under
always
something else,
has.
it
We
always has.
have a few of those positions where it's just, here, we don't have a place for this here.
Yeah, exactly.
Figure this out. And yes, we do, over the last few years, I have been trying to concentrate on I don't need this position, going out and cleaning out air conditioners and redoing all that. I hire somebody to do that. I didn't need Will installing fans and redoing the electrical and the panel. I hired an electrician for that. Those things, when I can get a clump of, hey, you're in there for a couple hours and get that done, we've been trying to do that. It just makes it a lot better.
Anything else on police and fire? Admin and finance? I do have a few appointments on here. John McNish for city prosecutor. And then we have Deborah Bell, Sharon Kramer, and Rick Cudney agreed to, two of them agreed to stay on the tree board, and then one new one agreed to come on board.
To approve the appointments for city prosecutor and tree board.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion?
Just a question.
Yes.
How often does the tree board meet?
It's
they
been a
want
while.
to, it's
Yeah,
their
kind of whenever
committee.
they want to, but it's been quite a
I
while.
was like, when was the last, did they provide a report to city staff or?
It used to be when Dale was here, that he would also attend. I mean, I think it's helpful for him to be there, but they haven't come forth with anything that they've wanted to do. This is the 50th year
I think that's all right.
of Arbor Day, so we
No,
did suggest to them.
Of Arbor Day itself? Okay.
That it would be nice maybe to have a bigger celebration.
Well, I think a lot of the historical tree concerns are still existent as far as pests and things, so.
Sure.
I mean, I'm pretty sure this kicked around 4 or 5 years ago, that it'd be nice for them to, I mean, I think that the feeling then was that they provided some information to the city and we went, all right, thanks, see you later. You
I don't know
know.
about that. I know they went
Well,
around and
that's what
looked at
got
trees
fed
and
back to
stuff,
me.
but.
It'd be nice to have, I mean, beyond the 50-year thing, an active tree board providing an annual report or something maybe to the city.
Well, I think
or-
the biggest complication is that the trees belong to the people. They're not the city's trees.
Only the ones in the parks.
Yes.
Right.
And so when you make a suggestion to someone, they look at you and say, are you paying for it?
Well,
Get out of my face.
I know, but then you have people like me that know nothing about trees.
Right, right.
yeah.
You know, and then I had a tree fall. And then I had somebody that used to be on the tree board say, oh, well, that tree was put on the list. I'm like, oh, that would have been nice to know before the tree fell.
Okay, and I don't have any
Yeah, I
idea
mean,
where that list.
You know, like.
It's an advisory.
Yeah.
I knew
Yeah.
they did have
Yeah,
a big list.
if they did
worked
go
with
through it, I
K-State.
think, didn't someone from K-State
Yeah,
go with them?
they worked
Am I
with
right?
K-State,
Yeah.
and it was even in the
Kim did.
extraterritorial zone where there's outbreaks of bark beetles and
Yeah,
whatnot.
that she did, I remember when she
Yeah.
came out there to look at the beetles that were killing the,
And thinning some trees in the park and, you know,
Sure,
there was
I
a
mean,
bunch.
that's their kind of role, yeah, they don't, you know, they can't dictate and neither can we, but we can make a lot of recommendations.
Sure.
And I think we technically actually can remove pest trees, but I'm not saying we necessarily need to go to town with that either.
yeah, usually we just tell them
We
they
could
have
give
a
lots
tree
of
that-
recommendations, you know, advice. But yeah, I think we're a very treed city and a lot of trees have been falling lately with the windstorms, so.
You have been.
That's
And I
all.
like down in my part of town, and I've been bad too. I think I've cut down properties like 6 or 7 trees, planted one.
Shame on you.
Well, but I mean, it's elm trees that are diseased and it's hackberries that are,
Sure.
I mean, all those trees down here were planted probably around the same time.
Sure.
And they're all getting old and they're dying.
You see that with
and-
catalpa trees a lot. There was a big,
Yeah.
the history of it. There was a big push to do that 80 years ago, and they're all aging out.
Yep, yep. And that's the thing that we need to start, I mean, I needed to be doing this, too. We need to start planting trees back when we cut these down so that 50 years from now, we don't have no trees, no big trees.
Keep them out of West Star's way
Well, I
because
think
they'll
that-
hack them.
Well, yeah, I think the tree board would agree. There's a lot of, you know, tangential benefits to having a lot of trees in your.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's great. I think we've made a couple strides in the last few years, with, I think before, we were scared to go and trim trees along streets, and just because of the outcry. that-
Well, the trouble is, we wouldn't have the cemetery and parks doing plumbing work, and we shouldn't have, you know, street crews trimming trees, because maybe they don't necessarily know what they're doing and they kill trees. Ask me how I know. So, I think that was a little bit of the concern, was that we were acting with haste, without communication, without maybe appropriate people doing some of the work. So,
Well,
Again, communication.
Well, I mean, we did the communication, but it was before, it
Well,
was don't touch the trees.
It was
'cause
communication like
yeah.
in the water newsletter, something about trees. That's not what I meant. I meant like, oh, this tree's, somebody's got a tree that's in the right of way, let's talk to that person.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to the inspector thing, I suppose, because that would be in that role, right? So, communication, that's all. Sorry, I didn't mean to devolve this whole conversation away from your
Appointments.
appointments.
Yes.
Appointments.
We just need to vote.
Just as
Uh,
tree board
yes, right,
came
yeah.
up, I was
First and
discussing
second.
it.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We probably need to go into executive session again, I think, don't we?
Oh, I did not bring it. Those in here. You didn't tell me we were doing it.
Well, you're supposed to bring it every time.
Whatever. I'll go get it. So we read it exactly right. I don't want to get it wrong.
Mr. Mayor, I will mention, I did look at the docket. There is kind of an interesting policy issue that came up several years back. The city prohibited pit bulls, and I'm dealing with the pit bull vicious animal. Pit bull is legal. It's something I may keep you apprised of. I mean, may want to revisit. I know on YouTube there's plenty of cuddly pit bulls. They in this case did harm to a child. So I'll bring that back, and it may be a policy decision you revisit.
There was a legal reason why we changed that.
There is,
It was
because it cost us
insurance.
$800 just to have the dog tested to prove it had any pit bull in it at all.
Mhm.
Vicious is easy. That dog caused harm. You're done.
No, I'll check on the pit bull
And
test.
it was actually the national, they'll come after you and tell you that you can't do it, the national animal, whatever, that you're not supposed to.
Breed specific.
Target,
Profile.
breed specific. They don't want you to target breed specific. Like all the years I walked in this town, a Rottweiler's the only thing that ever chased me, and the only thing that ever bit me was a Silky Terrier. And that's a
Is
fact.
the DNA testing, is that through the Blue Rapids vet? Because I prosecuted cases there, and it was like $85.
No, I don't, it took $795, I still got the AP stuff on it. By the time we had to hold it and they fought us and it was, and so, I mean, that's what it cost us. So it was just easier to go vicious, because obviously vicious is, and most insurance
'cause we were
companies will make you
getting-
get rid of them, but.
Yeah,
Money
well,
is,
because we were even getting into the, what if it's half?
Well, yeah, because
quarter,
any bit, that's the thing,
yeah,
any bit.
money aside, my 2 cents is that breed-specific bans are kind of nonsense, waste of time. I think vicious is vicious. I say this as somebody who's got 2 5-pound dogs. They will tear your finger off, but,
It's the 5-pound dog that bit me.
I get the logic behind it, but I also think sometimes you don't need to micromanage those details. Like, more difficult, not less.
Right.
That's my opinion.
Which executive session do you want?
Non-elected person.
Okay. Brought them all. Yes, this one. Okay, you're the man.
How long do we need?
But yeah, but keep us, up to what?
He wants to know how long you need.
Yeah, how long do you think?
15 minutes, you think?
Am I in this one?
Let's go 10 minutes with you in there, and then if we have to go back, we will.
You can kick me out after 10 minutes and it'll be just fine.
Okay, let's
So you
go,
wanna go 20
let's go
minutes?
20.
20 minutes.
Yep.
I move the city council recess into executive session to discuss personal matters of non-elected personnel, discussion on specific personnel matters, not general personnel policies, exception KSA 75-4319B1. This session will include mayor, city council members and city administrator for 10 minutes. The open meeting will resume in the city council chambers at
Actually, we want you to do 20 minutes.
I'll just leave. Don't,
Okay.
yeah, don't worry about it, just.
Okay, so, 20 minutes, yeah.
9:36.
Yep.
36.
And the open meeting will resume in the city council chambers at 9:36.
Mr. Barrett, did you want me in?
Yeah.
And the attorney.
And the attorney. Sorry.
Second. Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
we did have.
Okay.
Call this meeting back to order.
No binding decisions.
There was no binding decisions. Let somebody make a
Us need wage determinations for the, 4 employees.
Which one? Yeah.
Cindy, Don, Gary, and Kim.
The dates aren't right on there. So just,
Okay, what am I supposed
If
to do
you
with it?
read it and then ask for the motion to approve those wage
Okay.
Wage
determinations.
terminations.
Okay. The following compensation for the listed below employees shall be as follows. Lucinda Holly, City Clerk, 2826, includes a $1.50 an hour increase after council adjustment. The following compensation for the listed below employee, Dominic Sircone, range 24.29 per hour, includes a $1.50 hour increase after council adjustment. The following compensation for the listed below employees shall be as follows. Water supervisor, Kent Bardman, range $19.27.12 per hour increase. Gary Gundelfinger, following compensation for the listed below employees shall be as follows. Street supervisor, Gary Gundelfinger, range $18.2608 an hour, includes a $1 increase, council adjustment.
Move to approve wage adjustments.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You know?
Mr. Mayor, I do have wage determination for the city administrator, but I'm do the math. Lawyer math, make me a little bit slower. Possibly, it's faster.
that's what it,
I was trying to do it. And that number equates to 82,000. If I did the math correctly.
The following compensation for the below listed employees shall be as followed. City Administrator Austin St. John, $39.42 an hour, which is $82,000 per year. Is that what you're telling me? Okay. And that is changing the contract or just a wage determination? We have to change the contract?
I would change the, yeah, change the.
Go ahead and change the
Yeah.
contract, so we'll do the contract.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
Move to approve wage termination set forth by this council.
Second.
Okay. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Okay, I don't think we have any other executive sessions, do we? Roundtable.
No.
Todd? Al?
No.
Yeah. City guys need to run around and anything that they have excavated, need to check. There is lots of sinkholes showing up.
I see what you're talking. Is it, do you have any specifics on
You
location?
can start where the new gas line was put in for the fire station, all around the fire station. to think, there's a street that I saw. They got some barricades by it, but after the rain, over there on 12th Street, between Debbie Lane and,
Going north, Park Place?
yeah, it's that long stretch. It's Debbie Lane, is it
West
Oto?
side. Oto. Yeah, I know. what you're
West
talking
side.
about.
Yep.
We poured a lot of concrete there to try and it's,
that
even that
washout.
concrete is washed out now.
Okay.
It's where the tube goes under the road.
Yeah, but I
Okay.
mean, it's like that
Okay.
whole,
Yeah, I know what you're talking
it's like that whole bank is
Behind
caved in.
Martin's.
Huh?
Behind where Martin's
Yeah.
is now.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's the place.
All right.
yeah, that's another big one.
All right.
Okay,
But just anything they can think of,
course.
just check.
okay, we will check.
Well, there's a lot of stuff I know got packed, but I mean, all of a sudden it just settled.
We might be, contractor might be able to go back
I-
over and do that, which is,
It's whoever.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not faulting, it's
No,
gonna fall
it's-
out eventually, so,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
And the only reason I say that is the, baseball boys were parked up there, and that's what made me think. May not be the best place for them to park something, a little heavy.
Colleen?
Oh, yeah, I have a list.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You can cut this off, Todd, real quick.
Huh?
Go for it.
Pool manager, we got anywhere with that yet?
The what?
Pool manager.
We're asking everybody that walks in the door.
Okay. We got somebody lined up to fix the metal on the edge of the pool yet, and it's a secured date.
I don't have a secure date. We do have somebody that is lined up. I forget the company's name. It's not the Continental, but it's another welder. I should have checked with Ken on that, but
Okay.
yeah, we have somebody lined up.
Okay. That spring's coming.
Yes.
Well, it'd be, a
Uh,
month probably, if you're putting water in there, so.
I was up at the courthouse the other day, and I was asked, there is a handicap sign down on the street. Does there have to be one on a pole in front too? Because they said someone hit it, it was removed, and they concreted, jackhammered the spot in the ground out, and concreted over it.
In front of the courthouse.
Right there on 12th Street.
On 12th
The handicap sign is painted down on the ground.
Okay. I believe it has to be marked in two places.
Well, that's what they
So-
thought too, so we need to get a pole back there, so we
Okay.
need to
On
probably.
12th Street by the courthouse?
By the courthouse, yep. I was asked when I was in there to look into that, so.
Handicap, and I'll make
Forwarding
sure, I'll make
mine.
sure it's on our list too, that's approved, handicap, and if that needs to be added.
Yeah, like I said,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if we
maybe
have
it
any
was
others, I
approved.
didn't drive around and look, but I thought both of them had to be there. Because
Okay.
the one on the ground got covered up, that one was still there.
But
Yep.
we still have to make sure that you've approved that spot.
Okay.
We'll get a poll up regardless.
Okay.
Since it was already there.
The next one's kind of a sore subject, and I've got some neighbors of mine in town that's really getting upset about it, is trash burning.
Okay. Trash.
How and what can we do to prevent people from burning their trash?
Prevent, we can do
Because
some,
it stinks, because they're burning a bunch of plastic and stuff now.
we can
I don't know
do,
which one you're talking.
we can
Well,
do
the neighbor
education.
across the street is on oxygen all the time
Yeah.
from this place. And it just, like you said, the plastic smell just seeps into the
I
house.
think there's a fine, is there not?
Well, yeah, there's,
It's unlawful burning. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no trash burning allowed.
Can we,
It's all prohibited.
if not, can we create an ordinance that says there is no trash burning?
No,
in the
we
street?
have one.
I'm fairly certain we have one.
I know we,
I couldn't find it in my code book, that was the only reason.
it's under
I-
fire.
That's probably why I couldn't
It's under
find
fire.
it.
It's not where you think it is.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, because it covers, also burning limbs and stuff like that in your yard, cause you can.
it's not so much
I think
the
the fire
yard,
chief's
the yard waste that they're complaining about, it's the plastic and
No, if it's
It's
the one,
trash.
is it the
trash.
one that does it like every year?
No, it's more than
Down
that,
there
it's
by-
oftener than that right
okay.
now,
I think I know where you're talking.
so,
Have they been calling
I know.
the police when they do it or anything?
no, they don't, but like I said, I told them I would check up here at City Hall Monday night and see for sure,
see who's
and
in-
I will get
who's
back
in
with
charge.
them, and we'll go from there, but like I said, I went home and looked in my code book, and I couldn't find it, so
I think it's
that's
under
why
fire.
I'll bring it up.
Am I doing-
They call it rubbish, holy crap.
Yeah, they do call it rubbish.
It's 7-601.
7-601.
7-6.
Unlawful for any person to kindle or burn any trash.
Okay. So when they light it up, we just need to have them.
Call the police,
Call the
right?
police?
Is it-
Yes,
it's a-
call
it is a
dispatch.
police,
Yeah.
a police violation, theirs to do.
Okay. That's what I needed then. I will get back in touch with them.
Okay.
Next one is the apartment house on 10th Street that I guess it's the city's.
No, it's
It's
not.
not.
Well,
Oh, no,
not
Murphy
okay.
still own it, we have nothing to do with it.
Whoever's it is, has anybody drove by it lately?
Yep.
I don't think there's a piece of glass still intact in that building. The doors are open.
I will tell you, we're trying to arrange a meeting, with, local business who wants, interested in helping the city address that issue. And then we're just trying to make our schedules all addressed. They've called a couple times now and it just hasn't worked out scheduling wise.
Like I said, it's just getting worse and worse now that everybody's been gone from there because now the kids are
Nobody's
just going,
taking
the
care of
big
it, yeah.
picture windows even broke out of the front
So
of it
the
now.
city's facilitating it?
Yes, we're trying to do that.
Trying to, yeah.
And then we're trying to, I think we may, I'm still interested in using that Lawrence ordinance where you foreclose on it. And that may be a way to.
They want to meet with a committee, or what do you?
They suggested the city administrator, the mayor, myself, and the two from their business.
How does council want to?
I'd say we
Handle that,
let
or-
that play its, run
Let
its
it play
course,
out.
and hopefully it works, and, what?
Yeah.
And then if not, then I like John's idea, as far as that Lawrence ordinance, if we have to, but I
Yeah.
want that to be the last lever pulled, in my opinion.
Because, like I said, it's just gonna get worse and worse and.
Okay.
It's on
So you
the,
want to
it's delinquent.
have just staff have a meeting
Not this
with,
time next year.
with this business and then report back to council
Yes.
what,
Yes.
what
Yes.
they want or what they're
Well,
proposing.
What they're
just to
willing to
rehash,
do.
if you do a foreclosure, potentially the city could get title. However, you got the back taxes.
Right.
And the majority is the city, but there's a good size of it's a county. And maybe I should invite a county commissioner. Would they be willing to come and, about rebates and taxes? I mean,
Wouldn't hurt.
That works.
Wouldn't hurt.
Wouldn't hurt.
Let's see where we can get with it.
Yeah.
I mean, cause we all know it's badly dilapidated on the back side,
yeah,
so,
we have estimates on the cost to take it down.
right?
We know what the back taxes are. The tax foreclosure wouldn't happen till a year or so, and then if the city would have demolished it and it was on the tax roll, it's gone. All that money's gone.
So how long can something sit on the tax roll?
It's,
4 to 5 years, or does it go longer
Okay.
than that?
So
That was
the,
5.
and maybe John can elaborate this a little bit better, but the previous, or the deceased, was really good at keeping up at the back end of the taxes. They pay the oldest first or the newest first?
I can't remember, is this to restart the clock?
Yeah, he restarted the clock so many times. Normally, we would have expected it to be on the estate, on the sale this year, but it's not slated till next year. Because it would have been great to do it alongside of Malarnix. And last I knew, the county was preparing for that. And they said that last year, so that it's supposed to go on sale this year. And then the last I knew, it was going to be next year before they could sell that one.
If it's something that's not gonna be in the next couple
We need to
weeks
get,
or
we need to
months,
get a couple of
we
those
need some
windows
plywood
boarded up.
up there, cause there's doors off their hinges and holes in window, I mean,
can
Does
you
that big-
force her? She still owns it.
Well, I don't care, but the big picture window that's set
Yeah, I don't
facing
think you'd have much
10th
luck with
Street
that. I mean,
is broke out. I mean,
I think-
somebody could stick their hand in there and cut the.
I'm
We
pretty
got-
sure it was already broke but taped and the tape
Right.
came off.
We
Well,
gotta, we gotta see what our ability is to put stuff up there. If we still have to mail a notice or something like that, we'll look at that.
Even if they snow fenced across the steps and stuff to the front so people
Yes.
can't go up,
Anything, yeah.
something.
Okay.
I want to mention, there's big dollars involved by the local government, but then again, if a improvement is built up there, the tax revenue generated may offset that. It may take a couple of years, 3 years.
Right.
But it's an investment, there ought to be a way to come to some, agreement with regard to back taxes and demo costs and potential, generation of future revenues. So all is not lost.
Sure.
So we will see what they have to say.
One more thing, and then I'm done. This is an easy one.
You're
Anybody?
just wanting to make sure it goes
No,
to 10.
anybody can spot this, and
Don't get over 10,
Actually,
Kevin.
I'm already past that.
I got one more thing after you.
He's working
Okay.
on that overtime thing.
Yeah.
All the streets in Marysville, I've been real lucky and fortunate to run on a garbage truck the last couple of weeks again. The amount of flat tires we have on cars sitting on this public streets. Some of them's got one, some's got two. I found two that's got all four of them down. They just don't go down overnight. They've been sitting there for a while.
Well, it depends on if,
They've been sitting there for a while. We need to get them removed from the streets, or,
okay,
Around the backyard with the chain?
no, they need to be removed, or,
okay,
yeah. There shouldn't be any tires sitting on the street with a flat tire.
flat tires, okay, gotcha.
Vehicles are required to be operable and insured.
That's
Same
right.
on test.
Yep.
It's got flat tires, they sure aren't driving it. I didn't look at the tags on it that close, so.
Okay.
If the tags were expired.
Yep, I didn't get that nosy, but it's pretty easy to see in a garbage truck going down the street.
The only thing I got is up at the Legion Ball Field where they put in the electrical connection vault
Okay.
for the new lights.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put something by that so nobody can park on top of it.
Put some bollards around.
Bollards.
Put some bollards around it.
Something, come up with an idea.
K-rail,
Okay.
I don't care.
Protection, okay.
We put all that money in up there and.
Don't want
Yeah, I
them to
just don't
fall
want
through,
somebody driving
yeah.
through it.
No, we don't wanna shatter it.
Okay.
That's all I have, sir.
Okay.
Move to adjourn.
Nobody asked if I don't have anything.
Oh, sorry.
That's,
I
we
didn't want
asked for
Kevin to come up
discussion.
with something else.
I probably can.
Who was
All
the
right,
second
all
on
in
that?
favor, say aye.
Aye.
I probably could.
Opposed?
I know you could.
Opposed?
All night long.
Nobody. All right.